All right, Sunday best. Do you guys get pissed if anybody pronounces it Sunday best?
After 10 years, it's like, no, because people still say that. We know what they mean.
Yeah, I worked with, when I was in high school, I worked at Dairy Queen. I worked with a lady from Southern Indiana, and everything was Monday, Washington, with the R with like Washington. And was that coming up with that name? Was that obviously was intentional, but like, was it a way to kind of really show a little bit of the, where you guys are from and the way you guys talk and sing and all that?
Yeah, I think the accent, like just the way we've always talked, it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and but the Sunday best originally it was like it was Sunday best, but we chose to spell it the way we did just because that's really how we say it. And yeah, we both spent a lot of time playing and singing in church growing up, so hence the Sunday best.
Yeah, I love that. Quick, Wes, do you remember, because I was looking at you guys, some of your first albums, 2014, 13, or some of those within like 8 years or so. We visited a friend at Purdue, and they did like they call it Breakfast Club, Purdue University in West Lafayette, Indiana. Generally around there, it's very country, but then obviously you got the big university. And I remember specifically though, we were all like blacked out at 7 a.m. We dressed up like we dressed up like the Lumineers, because you dressed up for the home games. Yeah. So we looked like Amish people.
We were like Amish.
We just said that we were the Lumineers, and then your guys' music though at that time, this was right when Whiskey Riff started, around 2014, 15, before anybody knew. And you guys were like the soundtrack to like everything. Like we listened to you guys all the time, and saw them at Joe's.
We saw you guys at Joe's way back
in Chicago back then. So like, it's really cool to talk to you because we actually never got the chance to.
Well, and for me, like Drunk Right is still such an anthem. It's just like a drinking banger. And like, I'm 33 years old. I got a child and a wife, and I'm just like, turn that one up.
Nick can tell you about that song. I remember when it was wrote.
Is he on here?
We lost him.
If not, you gotta.
Yeah. So it was like one of those nights. I mean, and days where you don't know if it's morning or evening, and, we were living together at the time in Lexington, and man, he's just got a great knack for, he's one of the best songwriters, I know. And that song just kind of came out of the lifestyle we were living then. And now, we're in our, mid 30s, and a lot of people want to hear that song at shows, but it's like, we don't really play it that often now.
Really?
We've not played it this year, but it's still one of our top stream songs. So it's like, sometimes you got to dance with who brought you. There he is.
Well, when we were in college and coming out of college, we lived in Chicago. So the line about the neighbors liking wine and we liking beer and needing a few more hicks around here, like it really kind of hit home. It was just like,
oh yeah,
we're blasting country.
We were the only two people that liked country music back then. This was at DePaul, living in the city, and it kind of created Whiskey Riff because we looked around ourselves and we're just like, well, we want to go see you guys at Joe's. We want to go do this. We want to go do that. And it didn't exist. Now, I've said this before, but like for people that haven't been to Chicago, for example, Denver's got a ton of country venues now too, like artists, but Chicago's like, you go on Wrigleyville where the Cubs play, you go straight down Clark Street, and country bar, kind of just like blew up. But I know when we saw you guys at Joe's, I think it was back then, I don't know like now, but there was no band, right? It was you two, if I remember right. Yeah. And then it was kind of just like captivating, like the way you guys could do that with a 2-person kind of setup was, let's be honest, like there's guys with number one singles on country radio that don't have that type of stage presence. So I think that we always kind of latched onto that with you guys. But
you guys also are such, like, in my mind, like such Kentucky like celebrities in a way. and Chris was saying earlier that you guys don't get free coffee and beer, but for my, like, in my mind, Kentucky's kind of just leading the charge right now as far as like what's coming out of country music, and who's even West Virginia to a certain extent with guys like Charles Wesley Godwin. But I feel like you guys have been such mainstays in the region for a while, and then to see what's happened in the last 10 years or so. What's kind of your thought on the way Kentucky's really representing some of the best in country music right now?
I think it's how it's always been.
Yeah. Loretta.
I mean, it's so rich, and the modern day push that we're all seeing is a result, I think, of just real, it's just always been there, and it's been something that's been just adding on for a century, essentially. So yeah, I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool to kind of be on the front edge of a modern movement. And like when we started in 2010, there wasn't really a lot of people regionally playing their own music, and especially not staying in Kentucky. I think always before the narrative has been, hey, go to Nashville and try to be on the radio and that whole world. And that's fine, but I think that we're kind of in a place regionally too where there's been a turnover in like the coal industry where that's not really a thing anymore, and people are sort of shifting their perspective of, wow, this could be a real industry that supports so many different people and sides of it. There's the artist side of it, but there's the venue side of it, and all these venues that are popping up, and all these festivals, and just everything that comes with music. We're starting to see it in real time in Kentucky, and it's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, it's like a whole scene now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's really exciting. What do you think it is about growing up in Kentucky that produces such great songwriters, such authentic songwriters?
I was gonna say authenticity is like just bleeds through, I feel like, the music.
I think in general, just being more isolated from just
the noise.
Yeah.
Twitter.
And being in nature, I think it kind of lends to more introspection, and you're not necessarily, it's like, I think that we both write songs because we want people to hear them, but we're not really in touch with, like, with this thing, country radio, that is a lot of just people trying to fit in the same, it's a lot of people fighting for very limited spots. And I think that we've just always just done it to do it, to entertain people, and it's therapy for me too. Just, it's cathartic just to get stuff out. And so I think that when you create from that place, you're not really trying to, I don't know, it's just different. I think it's there is that authenticity that comes out because you the individual, there's nobody like you. So if you can find your voice, then it's like you're going to be unique by default. Yeah. I think so.
Did you guys ever consider or actually make a move to Nashville at any point in your career? because some guys do it and they come back and then they're just like, fuck that.
You see it a lot with Texas guys where they're like, I'll go for half the year, I'll go for a little bit, and like they still don't want to give up on like the home base, so to speak.
We did this. Our management early on, when we first got management and booking, like they were all in Nashville, and our publicists and all that stuff. And what we did a lot of what our manager called an awareness tour, where we did a lot of we did a lot of Nashville things, you know, and I hated it.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about Nashville,
but there was a lot of value in it. I think there is great value in seeing those sides of it. We did like, I mean, we did like a country tour, like a radio tour. Yeah, like we were with the guy that broke Bieber whenever Bieber was like 17.
Dave Reynolds.
This crazy Canadian Dave Reynolds. And we were gone like 6 days out of 7, like just visiting radio stations and doing what people do, like, you know, doing what
kissing ass,
singing at 7 a.m. Yeah,
that's got to be fun singing at 7 a.m, right?
Yeah, no. So
voice nice and tight.
Yeah, especially after hollering the night before and drinking. So, but you know, I think it was valuable in the long run. It did bring a lot of awareness to us, and both as I think as a like people being familiar with our name, but also us getting to see like just how it works. And you know, there's so many people that are playing music, and it's like there's a lot of different ways to get your music out there. So I wouldn't want to do it all the time, but you know, if I was in that world, it's like, or if we had a song that, you know, could go there, it's like, well, at least we know what it's like. So
yeah, I don't know if you guys have talked about this or don't want to talk about it. Obviously, we were bummed as hell when you guys kind of stopped making music, separated, and you guys got back together to kind of release the next phase here. Is there anything, was that just like need some time, or was it just more of like a personal thing on each side of let's figure out what we want to do, take the time off, come back when we're ready? What was the process like? Because I know a lot of fans like us, when I looked up our articles, we were pretty bummed when it was Sunday Best was no longer. Yeah. But then equally more excited when you guys kind of announced your return. Dude,
when I saw that banana with the 2021 or 2022, I forget what year it was written on. 2022, right?
One.
I was like, and I was like,
oh, here we go. First thing we do is like slack each other here at work.
Yeah, man. So like for me, in hindsight, you know, now being on the other side of it all, you know, it was a machine that was easy to get lost in because it could take all of your time, and it took most of mine. So, and we were going separate ways at that time. You know, life will take you where no one else can go with you sometimes. And that doesn't mean it won't bring you back together. So it was just necessary. We both needed it in hindsight, and I think you're seeing the fruit of that now, because we're just more aware and in tune with who we are individually, and then we both understand the common goal and purpose behind what Sunday Best is. So our communication's better, and it works. And we're in a new place to where it's a clean slate, and we get to choose what we want to do and when we want to do it, and at our own pace.
Nice.
And speaking of Sunday Best, you said before we hopped on that you guys both kind of grew up singing in church, and that's kind of where the name came from. And then you guys recently released a song called Walk by Faith with Mac Powell frontman of Third Day, who's like a really popular award-winning Christian contemporary band from the early 2000s that my mom was just cranking all the time back in the day. Might have even been my first concert. So how did that kind of come together with you guys working with Mac?
Our the guy that produced our record, Levi, that produced these songs, Levi Lowry, mutual friend of Mac, and they had done this remote song in 2020. It was like Levi and Mac and like Charlie Starr and there was a couple other people, but I was like, oh, Levi knows him, and we were playing the song back at Levi's house, and I was like, man, could we get Mac to sing on this? And I'm pretty sure Levi like texted him right then and asked him if he would do it, and he said yes, and that was kind of it. It was like just right place, right time, and it just floored me, because that was someone that I was just also just banging in my basement, just blasting it. And we've not really had a lot of collaboration with our heroes, and so for that to I consider Mac a hero. It's just a really cool thing, and something that you can't ever like really prepare for. You just you see it and you ask, and thankfully he said yes. And
how cool. How shocked were you guys to find out an American Idol winner or contestant was covering one of your songs?
Dude, that blew my mind. I was like,
yeah,
fucking way.
Yeah, same sort of thing. It's like you can't really prepare for that. It's just like I found out like 5 minutes before it happened. So I was like sitting on my porch just chilling with one of my buddies, and I found out while it was happening. Okay, well, there you go.
People texting you.
Yeah. No, my mom, it was Mother's Day. Mom called me. And they were watching it. And
Mom was watching American Idol.
She said they're playing Painted Blue on American Idol. I was like, what? She's like, and she was like, turn it up, Kenny. That's my dad. So Kenny turns the TV up, and I'm listening to it through my car on my Bluetooth because I was driving. And I'm like, no shit. Like, this is no one like, and neither of us knew really. And, but it's been really special to like be connected through it and through Noah because of that. I got to meet him and spend a little bit of time with him when he did his hometown visit. So like he played Painted Blue before the season finale, right? So it's like we not only get to be associated with that. I mean, he's from right down the road, but it's like we get to be associated with the winner of the damn thing. So it's like really special, man. And he's a really good kid with an extremely bright future. And he's brought a lot of hope and positivity, into Eastern Kentucky as well. Like he knows where he's from. And it's I've been telling folks, it's like if someone would have told me years ago that I would get to be on the finale of American Idol, but not be in the competition and not have to go to Hollywood, but just drive up about 40 minutes up the Country Music Highway, US 23, it would be it'd be pretty cool. So yeah, I'm Team Noah for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, I read about him, I think actually today, saying how he was just like, they're like, yo, you want American Idol? What are you going to do now? And he was like, well, I don't want to be this like pop country Nashville singer. So I'm going to go mow my lawn and kind of sit home. And, I want to make, good country music and stuff. It seemed like he was like, I'm just going to take a break for a minute before I'm not going to run out there and,
And he didn't even sign. He didn't even sign himself up for it.
Yeah, really.
You know, his buddy Arthur did. And It's kind of ironic. His name's Noah, and he worked at the Ark.
the museum Ark thing. Like
no, it's Addiction Recovery Center.
Oh, okay.
And like
close west.
Wow. So like, here comes the flood.
Right.
That's wild.
Speaking of Nashville, though, two of our favorite guys that aren't on a major label that are kind of against the grain, similar to you guys. You guys are going to be going on tour with Muscadine and Bloodline. Love those guys and kind of the way they go about their business. How did that kind of come about with going on tour with them? Because from my knowledge, I don't recall any time seeing anything on socials of you four kind of doing any shows in the past together. Maybe I'm wrong, but really, to me, that sounds like an amazing combination of a tour.
We met Charlie years ago in Auburn. We were down there. Was that bourbon place? That was like the time we played there. The only time we've ever gone anywhere and not one single person has been there was in Auburn, Alabama. And there was a rodeo going on. Alan Jackson was in town, and we were like, it's like our first time, probably, or our second time. The first time we went there, we get there and there was like a Frankenstein PA. Second time, we actually get on stage and nobody's there. So we end up at a bar, the Sky Bar, and I think Charlie used to play there, and they knew us. Charlie knew us. I think that was even before he had met Gary. And once they linked up, there was a couple of videos of them like covering our songs. They had done, I think, Thunder and Hyman maybe, and so there was just like some mutual respect there. And then last year I got to write a song with both of them, and just getting to know them better. And then, they have these dates, and they threw them our way, and, we said yes. So I'm really looking forward to that. They've, to be in a bus and be independent, that's hard to do. And I feel like they've done it the right way, and they've done it their way, and it's just good country music. So I think it's going to be a big time.
Wes and I, every time we talk to them and see them, it's like, it's such a, like, to me, like a microcosm of the Nashville, like the bullshit that bothers us. Like, I don't want or care, whatever. They might not want it either, like major label, whatever record deal, but the people we do see getting signed and then you hear their music or see them live and then kind of meet them, you're dumbfounded. You're just completely confused with the old crusties that are kind of running the show behind the scenes and what they actually are listening for. So when I see you guys kind of pairing with them, it's like you start to realize, like, this whole like country radio major label thing, it's like, who gives a shit? Like, fans have gotten smart now where they can go on Spotify or Apple, or if you're Garth Brooks, Amazon Music.
Tyler Childers just went double platinum with Feathered Indians. Like, who the first ever maybe independent? I mean, he's on a record label now, but like, for all intents and purposes, like an independent artist out of Eastern Kentucky, double platinum. Like, it's unreal. Right. Like, do you guys kind of look at that and kind of see, like, okay, does that almost like a badge of honor for Eastern Kentucky in a way?
Well, I think, you all were talking about, Nick mentioned authenticity earlier, and authenticity, it just pours out of this area, and the world is begging for stuff that's authentic. So I think the spotlight's really being put on Appalachia right now, and for good reason, because there's so much to offer. There's so much that, gosh,
culture,
like
culture.
Yeah. The living, the the nature side of it that we were talking about. It's music, I think, is the gateway, and art, and tradition, and just the values that are here. I think a lot of folks, I mean, there's a lot of folks visiting the area for the first time, and moving there. Even there's people buying land and houses that have never even been here before.
I've always said that I think a lot of Appalachian artists and Eastern Kentucky artists have the ability to make you fall in love with the place you've never been before. It's a very like unique thing that I think is only unique to artists out of Kentucky and maybe West Virginia. Very unique to me. And you can hear these songs and the imagery and like,
even when Bourdain went there, when Anthony Bourdain, one of his last episodes was West Virginia, and he said it's one of his favorite episodes, some of his favorite people, some of the favorite energy he's ever felt. And this is when he clearly was dealing with a lot. So, I mean, that to me, that speaks volumes to what you're saying, Wes.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Charles Wesley Godwin's album last year to me was one of the best albums I've heard in a long time.
We've both played with him.
Yeah.
He covered one of your guys' songs, if I'm not mistaken, we posted or
it's good dude. Good dude.
Yeah. I think Nick just played with him, didn't you, Nick? Yeah. So
before we
he's got some history to his name.
Oh yeah.
Charles Wesley, John Wesley.
Yeah. My first name is Wesley.
Well, we had him on. He posted something the other day with his like grandpa or something out there somewhere. A really cool photo. But before we let you guys go, you guys did release the new song fairly recently. Right on Time. I'm not exactly sure the date that was released. Great song. New album in the works, I assume. Is there anything you can kind of
pretty much sitting on it, right? I mean,
waiting on it?
No, I mean, we've got, like he mentioned earlier with Levi Lowry, we recorded what pretty much is a record. We're kind of releasing singles this year.
Nice.
But at some point, I imagine, we can release everything together as well. But yeah, so I'm planning on releasing the next single this summer. But yeah, Right on Time it's a banger.
Yeah, it's a great song.
I love it.
Well, boys,
awesome.
Hopefully we can see you live sometime soon. Love the music. Send everything our way, obviously ahead of time, and we'll take care of you guys with the playlists and all that. But great to finally chat. And
it's been a while.
Thank you all. We really appreciate you sharing the music and all you're doing for other people around us. So
Absolutely, boys. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.